The 7 days passed quickly. Too quickly for some, not fast enough for others. Across Earth, people watched the news and waited. Everyone knew what was coming. The government had been honest about the situation. Humanity faced extinction or slavery unless they fought back. Jiwoo stood once again on the transport platform in the Galactic Council Hall. The same 300 species watched him with the same mixture of boredom and contempt. Overlord Thexnar sat on his throne, scales glowing a peaceful blue. He expected good news. "Human," Thexnar's voice boomed across the hall. "Your week has ended. Have you brought your world surrender?" Jiwoo took a breath. His heart pounded in his chest, but his voice came out steady and clear. "I have delivered Earth's message to our leaders. I have consulted with our governments and our people. I now bring you their response." "Excellent," Thexnar leaned forward eagerly. "We are prepared to begin the integration process immediately. Your people made the wise choice. Earth declines your offer," Jiwoo said simply. The hall went silent. Every alien stopped what they were doing. 300 species stared at the lone human standing before them. Thexnar's scales shifted from blue to purple. Confusion. "Declines?" He repeated the word slowly as if he had never heard it before. "You refuse our terms?" "We refuse slavery," Jiwoo said. "We refuse to surrender our freedom. We refuse to become workers in your empire. Earth chooses to remain independent." Thexnar's scales went black. Pure rage. He rose from his throne, all 6 arms spreading wide. "You fool! You condemn your entire species to death. Do you understand what you have done?" "I understand perfectly," Jiwoo replied calmly. "You threatened to destroy our world if we did not submit. Well, humanity does not respond well to threats. We choose freedom over servitude. We choose to fight rather than kneel." "Fight?" Thexnar's laughter echoed through the hall. Other council members joined in. The grinding metal sound filled the space. "You cannot fight us. You have nothing. Your weapons are primitive. Your defenses are non-existent. We will crush you like insects." "Perhaps," Jiwoo said. "Or perhaps you have made some incorrect assumptions about Earth." "The only assumption I made was that your species possessed basic intelligence," Thexnar snarled. "I see now that I was wrong." "Very well, human. Return to your pathetic world. Watch from orbit as we reduce your cities to ash. You will spend your final hours knowing that you could have saved them." "I do not think I will be watching from orbit," Jiwoo said. "I think I will be watching from Earth. Goodbye, Overlord Thexnar. I suspect we will not meet again." The platform began to lower. Jiwoo descended out of sight, leaving 300 confused and angry species behind. He walked through the corridors without hurry, climbed into his ship, and launched into space. The moment he cleared the Council's security zone, he opened a communication channel. "This is Ambassador Jiwoo," he said. "I am clear." "Repeat, I am clear of Council space." Admiral Daeho's voice came through immediately. "Confirmed, Ambassador. Welcome to the war. All units, this is command. Operation Freedom is now active. Execute all primary targets." Across the solar system, humanity moved as one. In Antarctica, Dr. Minji pressed her hand against a scanning panel. Biometric verification complete. Presidential authorization confirmed. She looked at her team and nodded. "Activate all platforms," she ordered. The quantum displacement chambers hummed with power. Purple energy filled the facility, growing brighter and brighter until the scientists had to shield their eyes. 47 platforms, each one locked onto a different target light years away, built up to maximum capacity. "Firing solution confirmed," the weapons officer reported. "All targets acquired." "Fire," Minji said quietly. Reality tore open. 47 holes appeared in space, each one leading to a different location across the galaxy. Through these holes, humanity sent its first message to the Galactic Council. Quantum displacement missiles traveling instantly across impossible distances emerged from nothing inside Council military bases. The first base never knew what hit it. One moment, the station orbited peacefully around a gas giant. The next moment, 6 missiles materialized inside the command center and detonated simultaneously. The explosion tore through the station from the inside out. 3,000 aliens died before they could even sound an alarm. The second base lasted slightly longer. Automated defenses detected the quantum signatures and tried to activate shields. But the missiles were already inside the shield perimeter, having bypassed the barriers entirely. The base broke apart in a series of massive explosions. The third, fourth, and fifth bases suffered the same fate. Quantum missiles appeared inside hangars, control rooms, and weapons storage facilities. Each strike was perfectly placed to cause maximum damage. Within 5 minutes, humanity had destroyed 5 major military installations, without a single human ship ever leaving the solar system. Targets 1 through 5 eliminated. Minji reported to command. Reloading platforms. Next wave will be ready in 30 seconds. Confirmed. Deho's voice came back. Continue firing. Don't give them time to adapt. The platforms fired again and again. Every 30 seconds, another wave of destruction reached across space to strike Council targets. Supply depots exploded. Communication arrays went offline. Fuel refineries burned. In the first hour, humanity destroyed or damaged 38 separate installations. Captain Suho watched the reports come in from his position near Mars. His battle group had not yet engaged. But that was about to change. Long-range sensors detected the Council's nearest fleet moving toward Earth. They would arrive within 6 hours. All ships, prepare for combat, Suho ordered. Enemy fleet consists of approximately 3,000 vessels. They outgun us, outnumber us, and have more combat experience, so we're going to be smarter than them. His squadron began moving into position. 12 ships against 3,000 seemed like suicide. But Suho knew something the Council fleet did not. They were flying into a trap. Deploy the mines, Suho commanded. Thousands of small objects began spreading out across the space between Mars and Earth. Each one was a smart mine, equipped with thrusters, sensors, and an explosive payload powerful enough to cripple a capital ship. They were nearly invisible to scanners, designed to look like space debris until it was too late. Mines deployed, his tactical officer confirmed. The field extends across a volume of 2 million cubic kilometers. Any ship passing through will trigger at least a dozen mines. Good, Suho said. Now we wait. Pilot Hana launched from the moon base along with 500 other fighters. Her craft was fast and agile, designed for hit-and-run attacks rather than direct confrontation. The enemy fleet would have heavy shields that capital ships would struggle to penetrate. But fighters could slip through defensive fire, target weak points, and escape before retaliation. All fighters, this is Wing Commander Hana, she broadcast to her forces. Our job is to harass and distract. We don't need to destroy them. We just need to keep them busy while the real weapons do their work. Stay fast, stay smart, and come home alive. Her squadron acknowledged and formed up around her. 500 fighters looked tiny compared to 3,000 alien warships. But humanity had learned long ago that size was not everything in combat. Commander Junho activated the Exodus protocol from his station near Jupiter. 37 asteroids, each one massing billions of tons, began their journey toward the inner system. They accelerated slowly at first, but as their engines built up power, they gained speed. Within hours, they would be traveling at significant fractions of light speed, and once they reached that velocity, nothing in the solar system could stop them. Exodus units are away, Junho reported. Estimated impact time with enemy fleet, 4 hours, 30 minutes. Acknowledged, Admiral Deho responded. All units maintain current operations. The enemy is about to learn what real war looks like. In the Council fleet, Admiral Vexith studied the tactical displays with growing concern. He belonged to a species that resembled armored crustaceans, and he had fought in 40 campaigns across the galaxy. He knew war. He knew strategy. And what he was seeing made no sense. 5 of our bases have gone silent, his communications officer reported. No distress signals. No warnings, just gone. How? Vexith demanded. Are there human ships in those systems? No, Admiral. Long-range scans show no human vessels anywhere near those bases. It's as if they were destroyed by ghosts. Vexith's antennae twitched with agitation. Impossible. You could not destroy a military base without approaching it first. Yet the humans had somehow done exactly that. 5 bases, spread across dozens of light years, all destroyed within minutes of each other. What weapons do the humans possess? He asked. According to our intelligence, they have chemical rockets, conventional explosives, and primitive energy weapons. Nothing that should be able to reach beyond their own solar system. Then our intelligence is wrong, Vexith snapped. Update the threat assessment. Treat humans as a serious military power until we know otherwise. Yes, Admiral. The fleet continued toward Earth, but Vexith ordered maximum alert status. Shields at full power. Weapons charged. Sensors scanning continuously. If the humans had some unknown weapon, he wanted to be ready for it. His fleet emerged into the Earth-Mars corridor exactly 4 hours after humanity's first strike. Not one of them considered the possibility that humanity might actually fight back. That was their first mistake. It would not be. Admiral Deho stood in the command center, buried 3 kilometers beneath the Rocky Mountains. The facility had taken 20 years to build, and another 15 to equip with the most advanced technology humanity could create. None of it appeared on any public record. Satellites passing overhead saw only natural rock formations. Even most world governments did not know this place existed. Around him, hundreds of officers worked at their stations. Holographic displays showed real-time data from every corner of Earth and beyond. Military installations across the planet reported their readiness status. Hidden bases on the Moon, Mars, and several asteroid stations confirmed they were online and awaiting orders. Admiral, Ambassador Jiwoo's ship just entered Earth's atmosphere, a young officer reported. He'll be landing in Geneva within the hour. Deho nodded. Good, how long until the full council briefing? President Hyunwoo has called an emergency session. All section leaders are already gathering. Deho looked at the main display screen. It showed a map of human-controlled space. Blue dots marked defensive positions. Green indicators showed weapons platforms. Red zones highlighted areas where alien scouts had been detected over the past 50 years. The Galactic Council thought they had been watching Earth in secret. They did not know that humanity had been watching them right back. Display Project Thunderstrike, Deho ordered. The screen changed. New markers appeared throughout the solar system. Purple dots, hundreds of them, scattered from Mercury's orbit all the way out to the Kuiper belt. Each dot represented a weapon platform that had been built in absolute secrecy. All platforms report green. Status, the tactical officer said. We can achieve full deployment in 6 hours. And Project Nightfall? 98% ready. Dr. Minji says the final calibrations will be complete within 3 days. Deho allowed himself a small smile. 3 days. The council had given them 7. More than enough time. Across the Atlantic Ocean, deep beneath the ice of Antarctica, Dr. Minji ran her hands across a control panel. Before her stretched a chamber the size of an aircraft hangar. In the center floated a sphere of pure energy, held in place by magnetic fields so powerful they could tear apart metal. Run the test sequence again, she ordered her team. Engineers worked quickly at their stations. The sphere pulsed with light. Reality itself seemed to bend around it, creating visual distortions that hurt to look at directly. Numbers scrolled across monitoring screens tracking energy output, stability factors, and quantum displacement efficiency. Displacement field is stable, one engineer reported. We're maintaining 99.7% coherence. Target acquisition? Minji asked. Locked. We can place a payload anywhere within 8 light-years with less than 10 meters of variance. Minji nodded slowly. 8 light-years. The Galactic Council's nearest military base was only 4 light-years away. They could strike it before the aliens even knew humanity possessed this technology. The quantum displacement system had been humanity's greatest scientific achievement. It bypassed normal space entirely, allowing instant transportation across vast distances. The theory had existed for decades, but making it work required resources from the entire planet. Every nation had contributed scientists, materials, and funding. The Council thought humans were primitive. They saw chemical rockets and conventional weapons. They never detected the quantum research facilities hidden underground, shielded by layers of rock and sophisticated cloaking technology. How many units can we deploy? Minji asked. Her chief engineer pulled up the inventory. We have 47 operational displacement platforms. Each can fire every 30 seconds. With the munitions we've stockpiled, we can maintain sustained bombardment for 72 hours before reloading. Minji did the math in her head. 47 platforms firing twice per minute for 3 days. That was over 400,000 strikes. The Council's fleet would never know what hit them. Prepare for full activation, she ordered. Presidential authorization should come through within the next few days. In Geneva, President Hyunwoo sat at the head of a long table. Around him were the leaders of Earth's military, scientific, and intelligence divisions. Jiwoo had just finished presenting his report on the council meeting. The room remained silent as everyone processed the information. So they expect us to surrender, General Taewoo finally said. He was the oldest person in the room, a veteran of 3 wars and the architect of Earth's unified military doctrine. Just like that, They think we'll hand over our planet and become their slaves. They've done it 417 times before, Jiwoo reminded him. To them, this is routine. They genuinely believe we have no other choice. Then they're fools, Taewoo growled. We've been preparing for this scenario for 30 years. Hyunwoo raised a hand for calm. Let's review our position. Admiral Daeho, what's our military readiness? Daeho stood and activated a holographic display in the center of the table. The solar system appeared in miniature, studded with defensive positions. All primary systems are operational. We have 412 capital ships ready for deployment, another 800 smaller combat vessels, 3,000 autonomous fighter craft. Defensive satellites around Earth, Mars, and the Moon are at full power. Our orbital weapons platforms can engage targets from here to Jupiter. Ground forces? Hyunwoo asked. 2 million active soldiers fully equipped with powered armor and plasma weapons, Taewoo reported. Another 10 million reserves who can be mobilized within 48 hours. Every major city has underground bunkers capable of sheltering the entire population. We can defend every centimeter of Earth if they try to land troops. Hyunwoo turned to Minji, who had joined the meeting via secure video link. Doctor, what about our special projects? Minji's face appeared on one of the screens. Project Nightfall is nearly complete. We can begin quantum displacement strikes whenever you give the order. Project Thunderstrike is fully operational and awaiting deployment. Project Exodus is at 95% completion. Explain Exodus for those who haven't been briefed, Hyunwoo said. Weaponized asteroids, Minji said simply. We've been hollowing out large asteroids throughout the belt for 15 years, installing guidance systems and engines. Each one masses several billion tons. We can accelerate them to significant fractions of light speed and aim them at any target in the solar system. They're essentially planet-killer weapons. We have 37 ready for deployment. Someone whistled softly. Even those who knew about Earth's secret weapons programs were impressed by the scope of preparation. Intelligence? Hyunwoo looked at Director Soman, who headed Earth's surveillance network. We've been tracking Galactic Council movements for decades, Soman reported. We know the locations of their 12 nearest military bases. We've identified their major fleet staging areas. We have detailed specifications on their most common ship classes. Their technology is more advanced than ours in some areas, but they've grown complacent. Their shields are strong but designed to stop the types of weapons they know about. Our quantum displacement system will bypass their shields entirely. What about their numbers? Someone asked. 300 species means thousands of ships. Actually, we estimate around 40,000 combat vessels, Soman said. Sounds like a lot, but they're spread across the entire galaxy. Their nearest major fleet has maybe 3,000 ships, and it would take them 2 weeks to reach Earth even at their fastest travel speeds. If we strike first and strike hard, we can cripple their response capability before they can organize a proper counterattack. Hyunwoo leaned back in his chair. So we have the weapons. We have the element of surprise. The question is whether we use them. Is that really a question? Taewoo asked. They've threatened to bombard our cities and enslave our people. We cannot and will not submit to that. Agreed, Hyunwoo said. But I want everyone to understand what we're deciding here. If we fight back, we're committing to total war against a galactic empire. We might win the first battle, maybe even the first several battles, but eventually, they'll bring more forces to bear. This could be a conflict that lasts generations. Then we'll fight for generations, Minji said through the screen. My grandparents fought for Korea's freedom. My parents fought to help unify Earth's defenses. I'll fight for humanity's right to exist as a free species, and my children will continue that fight if necessary. Murmurs of agreement circled the table. Hyunwoo looked at each face. He saw determination, anger, and yes, a little fear, but he saw no hesitation. No one suggested surrender. No one proposed trying to negotiate better terms. Humanity had made its choice long before this meeting. They had made it when they started building secret weapons. They had made it when they unified their military forces. They had made it when they poured resources into technologies that had only one purpose: fighting a war among the stars. Very well, Hyunwoo said quietly. We have 7 days before Jiwoo returns to the council. We'll use 6 days to complete final preparations. On day 7, Jiwoo will deliver our response in person. And the moment he's clear of council space, we launch everything. What will his response be? Jiwoo asked with a slight sambo. The conference hall stretched across what seemed like endless space. Massive pillars reached toward a ceiling that glowed with artificial light, mimicking distant stars. Representatives from 300 alien species sat in their designated seats, each area designed for their specific biology. Some breathed methane through masks, others floated in contained water bubbles. A few existed as pure energy, their forms flickering like candle flames. Jiwoo stood alone at the center platform. His simple black suit looked plain compared to the elaborate armor, robes, and biological enhancements surrounding him. He was the only human in the entire building. The weight of representing 8 billion people pressed down on his shoulders, but he kept his face calm. His hands stayed steady at his sides. The Supreme Overlord Thexnar sat on the highest throne. His species resembled a cross between an insect and a reptile, with 6 arms and scales that changed colors based on his mood. Right now, they pulsed a deep red that Jiwoo had learned meant contempt. 3 of his eyes focused on the human, while the other 3 scanned documents on floating screens. Human. Thexnar's voice boomed through translation devices. Your presence before this council is a courtesy, nothing more. We have studied your species. We have watched your planet for 50 cycles. You are children playing with fire, Jiwoo said nothing. He had been trained for this moment. Earth's diplomats had prepared him for every possible scenario. Stay calm, listen completely. Show no weakness. He stood still and met Thexnar's gaze. Your world possesses resources we require, another council member spoke. This one looked like a collection of rocks held together by some invisible force. Rare minerals, water, genetic diversity. Your planet will be integrated into the galactic economy. Integrated, Jiwoo finally spoke. His voice carried across the hall through the same translation system. What does that word mean in practical terms? Thexnar's scales shifted to orange. Amusement. It means your species will work. You will mine. You will farm. You will serve the greater galactic community. In return, we will allow you to exist. Slavery, Jiwoo said flatly. You're describing slavery. A sound like grinding metal filled the hall. Laughter. The aliens were laughing at him. Jiwoo felt anger rising in his chest but pushed it down. Getting emotional would accomplish nothing. Call it what you wish, Thexnar continued. This is how the galaxy functions. The strong guide the weak. The advanced uplift the primitive. Your species has nothing to offer except labor and resources. Be grateful we offer you survival. Jiwoo took a slow breath. And if Earth refuses? The laughter stopped instantly. The hall became silent. 300 species waited for the Overlord's response. Thexnar leaned forward on his throne, all 6 eyes now locked on the human. Then we will take what we need by force. Your military is laughable. You still use chemical propulsion for most of your spacecraft. Your weapons are crude. Your defenses are non-existent by galactic standards. We have cataloged every satellite, every military installation, every population center on your planet. If you refuse our generous offer, we will bombard your cities from orbit. We will break your infrastructure. We will reduce your population to a manageable size. Then we will take what we want anyway. Jiwoo felt his jaw tighten but maintained his composure. You've done this before. 417 times, a new voice spoke. This representative looked almost human but with silver skin and no visible mouth. Its words came from somewhere inside its body. 417 species have stood where you stand now. All of them saw reason. All of them accepted their place in the galactic order. Resistance is not merely futile, it is impossible. We have the combined military might of 300 civilizations, Thexnar added. Your entire planet could not withstand even one of our member species. Together, we are unstoppable. This is not a negotiation, human. This is a notification. You will comply. Jiwoo's mind raced through the briefings he had received before this trip. Earth's military leaders had prepared reports. Scientists had analyzed every piece of data about the Galactic Council. Politicians had debated responses for months. Everyone knew this moment would come eventually. Humanity had always known they were not alone in the universe. The real question had been when contact would happen and what form it would take. Now they had their answer. How much time do we have? Jiwoo asked. Thexnar's scales shifted through several colors. Purple confusion, then blue calculation, then back to orange amusement. Time, you want time to consider? Yes, this decision affects every person on Earth. I need to consult with our leaders. I need to present your terms to our governments. More grinding metal laughter filled the hall. Governments, one alien muttered. As if they matter. Thexanar raised one clawed hand for silence. The laughter died away. Very well, human. Your species' quaint attachment to procedure amuses us. You may have 1 week. 7 of your planet's rotations. Return here with your surrender, and we will begin the integration process peacefully. Your people will be treated fairly as workers. Your culture will be preserved in our archives. You will become part of something greater than your limited existence. And if I return with a different answer? Jiwoo asked. The Overlord's scales went black. Pure rage. Then you will watch your homeworld burn from this very hall before we scatter your remains across space. Do not test our patience, human. We have eliminated species for less than defiance. Your choice is simple. Submit or die. Jiwoo nodded slowly. 1 week. I understand. Good. Thexanar settled back into his throne. Use your time wisely. Study your history. Every species that chose extinction over service is now forgotten. Their worlds are mines and colonies for more reasonable civilizations. You have the opportunity to avoid their fate. The platform beneath Jiwoo began to descend. The meeting was over. As he lowered out of the Great Hall, he looked up at the 300 species watching him. Some looked bored. Others seemed curious. Most appeared indifferent. To them, Earth was just another primitive world to be absorbed. Humanity was just another species to be broken and put to work. None of them saw the slight smile that touched Jiwoo's lips as the platform took him out of sight. The Galactic Council had made many assumptions about Earth. They assumed humanity was weak because their technology seemed primitive. They assumed humans would surrender because 417 other species had done so. They assumed fear and overwhelming force would be enough. They were about to learn how wrong assumptions could be. Jiwoo walked through the empty corridors back to his ship. His personal communicator was blocked inside council space, but once he cleared their security zone, he could contact home. He had 1 week to deliver their ultimatum. 1 week before Earth had to provide an answer. The council expected surrender and tears. They expected begging and desperate negotiations for better terms. They had seen it all before, but Earth had been preparing for this possibility for decades. Every nation had contributed. Every scientist had worked toward a single goal. Every military force had trained for one scenario. First, contact with a hostile civilization. The council thought they knew everything about Earth. They thought their 50 cycles of observation had revealed all of humanity's secrets. They had watched cities grow. They had monitored technological progress. They had calculated military capabilities. What they had not seen were the projects hidden underground. The research facilities buried beneath mountains. The weapons development programs scattered across the solar system. The international cooperation that had secretly unified Earth's defenses. Humanity had learned to hide their most important work. They had learned to show the galaxy exactly what they wanted to be seen, while concealing everything else. Jiwoo reached his small diplomatic vessel and climbed aboard. The airlock sealed behind him. He moved to the pilot's seat and began the launch sequence. The ship lifted smoothly from the council's docking bay and moved out into open space. Once he was clear of their sensor range, Jiwoo activated his secure communication system. A holographic display appeared before him. Back on Earth in a bunker deep beneath Geneva, President Hyunwoo's face materialized. Report, Hyunwoo said simply. They issued the ultimatum exactly as predicted, Jiwoo replied. Surrender or face orbital bombardment. 1 week to decide, Hyunwoo nodded. His expression remained neutral, but Jiwoo could see the tension in his eyes. How many ships? They didn't specify numbers, but Thexanar confirmed they have the combined forces of 300 species. 300, Hyunwoo repeated quietly. And they think we'll just give up. They've conquered 417 other species this way. It's always worked before. Then they're in for a surprise, Hyunwoo said. His voice hardened. Come home, Ambassador Jiwoo, we have work to do. 1 week isn't much time. 1 week is all we need, Jiwoo replied. The hologram flickered and disappeared. Jiwoo set his course for Earth and engaged the engines. His ship jumped to faster-than-light speed, leaving the Council's territory behind. Behind him, in that massive conference hall, the Galactic Council continued their daily business. They discussed trade routes and resource allocation. They settled minor disputes between member species. They planned the integration of Earth into their empire. Fexith saw the tiny blue planet ahead looking. The council chambers erupted in chaos. Representatives from 300 species shouted at each other in dozens of languages. Translation systems struggled to keep up with the noise. Overlord Thexnar stood at his throne trying to restore order, but his authority had cracked the moment news of the defeat reached the hall. Silence. He roared, his voice amplified to painful levels. The shouting gradually subsided. We face a crisis, but we will not respond with panic. The humans surprised us. That advantage is now gone. We know what they possess and we will adapt. Adapt? A crystalline being's voice chimed like breaking glass. They destroyed 43 installations in a single day. They defeated Admiral Vexith's fleet without losing a single ship. These are not primitive beings. They have been hiding their true capabilities. Clearly, Thexnar agreed, his scales flickering between colors as emotions warred inside him. Our intelligence was incomplete, but numbers still favor us. They have a few hundred ships. We have 40,000 spread across the galaxy. They control one star system. We control hundreds of thousands. This war is far from over. Then we mobilize everything, another representative said. This one resembled a floating brain surrounded by mechanical tentacles. We gather our full military might and crush them before they can strike again. That will take time, the military coordinator pointed out. Our forces are scattered. Full mobilization could require weeks, perhaps months, and during that time the humans will continue their attacks. Then we buy time, Thexnar decided. Send every available ship to Earth's system. Not to attack, but to blockade. Cut them off from the rest of the galaxy. Meanwhile, we gather our full strength. When we are ready, we will end this rebellion once and for all. Orders went out across the Council's communication networks. Every species contributed what ships they could spare. Military vessels, cargo haulers, even civilian craft were pressed into service. Within 2 days, 5,000 ships from across the galaxy began converging on Earth's sector of space. Admiral Daiho watched the enemy fleet assemble on his long-range sensors. The numbers made his stomach tighten. 5,000 ships, and intelligence suggested more were coming. Humanity had won the first battle through surprise and superior tactics, but raw numbers would eventually overwhelm them. They're forming a blockade around our system, his tactical officer reported. Looks like they're trying to contain us while they gather more forces. Smart, Daiho admitted. They learned from their first mistake. Now they're being cautious. How long until they're in position? 12 hours, Admiral. Then we have 12 hours to make our next move. Daiho opened a channel to President Hyunwoo. Sir, the Council is forming a blockade. We need to decide our strategy now. In Geneva, Hyunwoo gathered his advisors once more. The room felt different now. The tension before the first battle had been replaced by a mixture of pride and worry. They had proven humanity could fight back, but the war was far from won. If they blockade us, we lose our initiative, General Taewoo said. We need freedom of movement to strike their installations across the galaxy. Trapped in our own system, we become a target they can hit at their leisure. Can we break through a blockade of 5,000 ships? Hyunwoo asked. Not easily, Admiral Daiho replied through the video link. We'd take heavy casualties. But we have other options. Explain. Hyunwoo leaned forward. The quantum displacement platforms, Daiho said. They can strike anywhere, regardless of blockades. We continue hitting their military infrastructure across the galaxy. We make them spread their forces thin. They can't protect everything at once. But they can starve us out, Hyunwoo countered. Earth needs trade. We import rare minerals from asteroids, fuel from Jupiter's moons, food from Mars colonies. A blockade cuts all of that off. We have supplies for 6 months, Taewoo reported. Maybe 8 if we ration carefully. After that, we start facing serious shortages. Director Soman spoke up. There's another factor to consider. The Council isn't unified. 300 species don't all agree on how to handle this situation. Some probably think the war is too expensive. Others might resent being dragged into a conflict because Thexnar made threats he couldn't back up. We should exploit those divisions. How? Hyunwoo asked. Diplomacy, Jiwoo said. He had been quiet until now, sitting at the far end of the table. Not all Council species are our enemies. Many were forced to join. Others are just following orders because they don't know any better. If we can convince even a few species to break away from the Council, it weakens their position significantly. You want to negotiate with them while they're blockading us? Taewoo sounded skeptical. I want to show them that humanity isn't the real enemy, Jiwoo clarified. The Council is a tyrannical empire built on threats and subjugation. We're offering an alternative. Freedom, self-determination, the right to exist without bowing to Thexnar's authority. Hyunwoo considered this. It's risky. They might see any diplomatic outreach as weakness. Or they might see it as strength, Jiwoo countered. We've already proven we can fight. Now we prove we can be reasonable. We show them we're not mindless warmongers. We have principles we're fighting for. I like it, Sumin said. We wage 2 wars simultaneously. Military strikes to keep them off balance and diplomatic pressure to fracture their alliance, attack their bases and their unity at the same time. Hyunwoo nodded slowly. All right. Jiwoo, prepare diplomatic messages to council member species. Focus on those who seem least committed to the war effort. Admiral Daeho, continue quantum strikes but be selective. Target installations belonging to the most aggressive species. Leave the others alone for now. Show them there's a difference between our enemies and potential neutrals. What about the blockade? Daeho asked. Let them form it, Hyunwoo said. We'll show them a blockade means nothing when we can strike anywhere instantly. Commander Junho, how many Exodus asteroids do we have left? Junho's voice came through another channel. 23 operational units, sir. The others were expended in the first battle. Position them defensively around Earth and major installations. If the Council tries a direct assault, we'll have a nasty surprise waiting. Hyunwoo looked around the table. Any other concerns? Yes, Dr. Minji appeared on screen. The quantum platforms are performing beyond expectations, but they're burning through power reserves quickly. Each shot requires enormous energy. At current firing rates, we can maintain operations for another week before we need to shut down and recharge. Then, make every shot count, Hyunwoo ordered. Target priority installations only. No wasted ammunition. The meeting ended and everyone returned to their duties. Earth prepared for a long siege while simultaneously planning to take the fight to the enemy. The Council blockade formed exactly as predicted. 5,000 ships spread out around Earth's solar system, creating a perimeter that nothing could cross without being detected and engaged. Inside the blockade, humanity seemed trapped. But appearances were deceiving. Dr. Minji's quantum platforms fired their first strikes of the second phase. Instead of attacking randomly, they targeted specific installations belonging to the 3 most aggressive Council species. Shipyards exploded, fuel depots burned, training facilities collapsed. The message was clear. Certain species were being punished while others were being spared. Jiwoo's diplomatic messages went out on open channels. They were simple and direct. People of the galaxy, Earth does not seek war with you. We fight only for our freedom. The Galactic Council demands our surrender and enslavement. We refuse. If your species values freedom as we do, consider carefully whether this is a war worth fighting. Earth offers friendship to those who seek peace. We offer only resistance to those who seek our subjugation. The messages reached millions of worlds. Not all species had chosen to join the Council willingly. Many had been conquered generations ago and forced into servitude. Some had joined for protection but now questioned whether that protection was worth the cost. Jiwoo's words found fertile ground in hearts that had never stopped yearning for independence. On one such world, a species called the Vrenthi held an emergency council meeting. They resembled tall, thin beings with 4 arms and large eyes. They had been part of the Council for 300 years, ever since Thexnar's predecessor had conquered their homeworld. The humans fight back, their prime speaker said. They refuse slavery. Should we not do the same? The Council will destroy us if we rebel, another Council member argued. Look what they're trying to do to Earth. Are they succeeding? The prime speaker countered. Earth has defeated every force sent against them. They possess weapons we never knew existed. Perhaps the Council is not as invincible as we believed. What do you propose? We watch, we wait. If Earth continues to resist successfully, others will join them. When that happens, we add our voice to the rebellion. The Council cannot suppress everyone at once. Similar conversations happened on dozens of worlds. Species that had long accepted Council dominance began questioning their place in the Empire. Cracks formed in the alliance that had seemed unbreakable. Overlord Thexanar sensed the growing unrest. Intelligence reports brought disturbing news. Several species were recalling their ships from the blockade. Others were peaceful and defensive. The Council fleet entered Earth's solar system like a storm of metal and fire. 20,000 ships spread across space in formations that had been perfected over centuries of conquest. They moved with confidence, certain that their overwhelming numbers would crush any resistance humanity could offer. Admiral Vexith watched his tactical display as the fleet advanced past Neptune, then Uranus, then Saturn. No opposition yet. The humans were waiting, letting the Council forces penetrate deep into their territory. Smart, perhaps, or desperate. Either way, the outcome seemed inevitable. All ships maintain formation, Vexith ordered. Stay alert for mines and ambush positions. The humans will try their tricks again. Don't give them any opportunities. The fleet continued forward, sensors scanning constantly for threats. They detected the minefield between Mars and Earth easily this time, having learned from their first encounter. Ships adjusted course to avoid the densest concentrations of explosives. Everything seemed to be going according to plan. Then, reality began tearing apart. Purple flashes erupted throughout the Council formation as quantum displacement missiles materialized inside ships without warning. Explosions bloomed like deadly flowers. Command centers vanished. Engine rooms detonated. Weapons magazines exploded in chain reactions that tore vessels apart from the inside. Quantum attacks, someone shouted across the communication channels. They're firing through our shields. I can see that, Vexith snapped. All ships maximum power to internal defenses. Seal all compartments. Prepare for materialization events anywhere inside the hull. But there was no real defense against weapons that ignored space itself. Dr. Minji's platforms fired continuously, each shot precisely calculated to cause maximum damage. 47 platforms, firing every 30 seconds, created a devastating rhythm of destruction. Every minute brought 94 new explosions scattered throughout the Council fleet. We've lost 200 ships, the tactical officer reported. No, 300. 400. The losses are accelerating. Push forward, Vexith commanded. We have 20,000 ships. They cannot kill us all before we reach their planet. All vessels, maximum speed toward Earth. The fleet surged forward, accelerating toward the blue world that hung in space like a jewel. Ships died by the dozens, but thousands more kept coming. The sheer momentum of the assault was unstoppable. Captain Suho watched them come from his position near Mars. Wait for it, he told his squadron. Let them get closer. Let them think they're winning. The Council fleet crossed into the orbital space around Mars. That was when Suho gave the order. All ships execute hammer strike. Fire everything. 12 human capital ships opened fire simultaneously. But they were not aiming at the Council fleet. Instead, their weapons targeted specific points in space where nothing seemed to exist. Massive plasma bolts and railgun projectiles struck empty vacuum with devastating force. Except the vacuum was not empty. Hidden stealth satellites positioned months ago and waiting silently absorbed the weapons fire. The energy did not dissipate. Instead, the satellites converted it, amplified it, and redirected it in concentrated beams toward the Council fleet. The effect was catastrophic. Beams of pure energy, each one carrying the combined output of multiple capital ship weapons, sliced through Council vessels like knives through paper. Shields meant nothing against weapons that struck from unexpected angles. Armor vaporized under the intense heat. Entire ships split apart or simply ceased to exist. What is that? Vexith stared at his display in horror as his fleet continued to die. Where are those weapons coming from? Unknown, Admiral. Our sensors can't locate the source. The attack seemed to be coming from empty space. Pilot Hana chose that moment to lead her fighter wings into the chaos. 500 small craft dove into the confused Council formation, targeting damaged vessels and exposed systems. They moved like sharks in bloody water, striking fast and disappearing before defenses could track them. Gold Squadron, target those carriers, Hana commanded. Silver Squadron, hit their command ships. Bronze Squadron, you're with me. We're going after their flagship. The fighters split up, each group pursuing their assigned targets. Council ships tried to shoot them down, but the small craft were too fast and too agile. Defensive fire went wide. Missiles failed to lock on. The fighters danced through the battle space, leaving destruction in their wake. Commander Junho watched the battle develop from his command post. The Council fleet had penetrated deep into human territory just as planned. Now they were exactly where he needed them to be. Release the Exodus units, he ordered. 23 asteroids, each one accelerated to 1/4 of light speed, entered the battle space. They came from different angles, converging on the Council fleet's center formation where ships were packed most densely. There was no warning, no time to evade. The asteroid simply arrived and began smashing through the enemy forces. The first impact vaporized a dreadnought and 24 nearby vessels. The kinetic energy was beyond imagination. Ships did not explode. They simply stopped existing, converted instantly into superheated plasma that expanded outward in devastating shockwaves. More asteroids arrived. Each impact created a new zone of total destruction. The Council fleet, so carefully organized and disciplined, dissolved into complete chaos. Ships tried to scatter, but they were packed too tightly. Collisions added to the carnage as vessels desperately attempted to escape the killing zone. "All ships retreat," Vexith ordered, his voice tight with panic. "Emergency withdrawal! Get us out of here." But retreat was not simple. The fleet was deep in Earth's gravity well, surrounded by enemies and caught in overlapping fields of fire. Ships that tried to flee ran into minefields. Others were picked off by human capital ships or swarmed by fighters. The quantum displacement weapons continued their relentless rhythm, materialized death appearing inside hulls without warning. Admiral Deho watched the battle unfold from his command center. The tactical displays showed the Council fleet disintegrating. Thousands of ships remained, but they were scattered, disorganized, and dying by the hundreds. "Maintain pressure," he ordered. "Don't let them regroup." General Tewu prepared his ground forces just in case. Deep beneath Earth's cities, millions of soldiers waited in powered armor, ready to defend their world if the Council managed to land troops. But it did not look like that would be necessary. The battle was being won in space, decisively and completely. Overlord Thexnar watched the battle through his communication relays, his scales cycling through colors so rapidly they became a blur. This was not supposed to happen. 20,000 ships should have been unstoppable. Instead, they were being massacred. "How many have we lost?" he demanded. "Current estimates suggest 8,000 vessels destroyed or disabled," a military aide reported quietly. "Another 3,000 are retreating in disorder. The remaining 9,000 are trapped in close combat around Earth. 8,000 ships, the largest single military loss in Council history. And the battle was not over yet. Thexnar made a decision he had never thought he would have to make. Order full withdrawal. All ships are to disengage immediately and return to Council space. Sir, that means abandoning thousands of our ships that are still engaged in combat. I know what it means." Thexnar's voice cracked with emotion. "But if we continue this battle, we will lose everything. Earth has defeated us. Order the retreat." The withdrawal order went out across all Council channels. Ships that could escape did so immediately, jumping to faster-than-light speeds and fleeing the system. But thousands of vessels were too damaged or too deeply engaged to retreat. They fought on alone, knowing they had been abandoned. Captain Suho's squadron hunted down the stragglers methodically. Some Council ships surrendered. Others fought until they were destroyed. A few managed to break through human lines and escape, but not many. By the time the sun set on Earth that evening, the battle was over. The space around Earth looked like a graveyard. Debris from thousands of destroyed ships floated in expanding clouds. Bodies numbered in the millions, both human and alien, though the vast majority were Council casualties. Of the 20,000 ships that had entered Earth's system, barely 7,000 escaped. The rest were destroyed, captured, or disabled beyond repair. Admiral Deho stood and addressed his command center. "All units cease fire. Begin search and rescue operations. Retrieve any survivors, enemy or friendly. This battle is won." The command center erupted in cheers. Exhausted officers hugged each other. Some cried. Others simply sat down, overwhelmed by what they had accomplished. Humanity had faced the full might of a galactic empire and won. President Hyunwoo addressed the people of Earth in a broadcast heard around the world. "People of Earth, today we have achieved something remarkable. We faced an enemy that outnumbered us 20-1. They came to destroy our world and enslave our people. We sent them running. This victory belongs to every person who refused to surrender, every soldier who fought, every scientist who created our weapons, every citizen who believed in our cause. We have proven that humanity will never accept tyranny. We have shown the galaxy that Earth boasts to no one." The celebration lasted for days. But even in victory, the leaders of Earth knew the war was not truly over.